Um, I want to talk about this because music biopics have been huge, and now we have a Beatles biopic in the works, and this looks like it is moving forward pretty quickly and pretty strongly. I think in films you can never until the thing's in theaters. You really honestly, I mean, how many times has a film been done and just not been released? For whatever reason, whatever the case may be. But I think this is going to be one that's going to get there, and that's a biopic on John Lennon, which I'm really really excited about. Now, if you love Lennon but don't like Yoko Ono, I got bad news for you. This is going to focus on Yoko and John's relationship primarily. Now, I don't think that they would make a movie like this without delving into obviously the Beatles, and some of John's early works, his first wife, for instance, right? I'm sure that'll be a part of this, but the main focus and main driving force is going to be the romance between John Lennon and Yoko Ono. WEHM.com has the story up there, with some other stories contributing, of course, Deadline, I believe Variety. But this is basically what we have here. It's the romance story between Lennon and Yoko Ono. Canadian filmmaker Jean-Marc Vallée. I hope I'm saying that right. Probably not. Apologies all around. But he's the one who did Dallas Buyers Club, so obviously knows his way to the Oscar awards. He's done Wild, Big Little Lies, and Sharp Objects, which is getting huge reviews on HBO. Deadline reports that Universal Pictures is negotiating the option to the rights of the movie. A script will be penned by Anthony McCartan. If you don't know who that is, that's okay. He just wrote the Queen Freddie Mercury biopic. So this kind of has what you need so far. Experienced filmmaker with some good credits behind him. Writer who's got the heat behind him. Everybody's talking about the Queen Freddie Mercury biopic. Very excited about that. He not only wrote that, he wrote Darkest Hour. He wrote The Theory of Everything. So Anthony's got some experience in there. And here's the key to this, because as always with these music biopics, the difficult part becomes the song rights, the music rights. Can you use the music? Can you use the actual songs in the movie? The ones without the actual songs never tend to go well. Yoko Ono will be a producer on the film. So that's the thing that really makes me feel like they have it all. They got the experienced director, the hot writer. Yoko Ono's behind the film. According to Deadline, the director, he passed on the new James Bond movie just because he had his eye on this one. And now this one seems to be going, so it looks like it's a good move. And when you're passing on of the James Bond franchise, I mean, as far as franchises go, that's a pretty damn big one. That's a pretty darn big one right there. So passed on Bond to go to Lennon. He's going to write the next draft of the screenplay with McCartan. They feel like they can start production late 2019. Michael DeLuca, who's one of the film's producers, said that having Yoko involved is key because he says, and I quote here, "We'll have access to the Lennon estate and the library of songs. I've been listening to John's songs forever, but as we developed the movie, I became aware of just how profound the emotional impact of the music and their legacy is on me," says Michael DeLuca. Lennon and Ono met in 65, 66, a little bit of a gray area there. But the Beatles were going in full effect, Beatlemania. He leaves Cynthia for her. They marry in 69, and they go on there to have quite a journey in the 70s together, apart. The producers say the movie will focus on celebrating the couple's dramatic journey together, but will stop short of Lennon's death in December of 1980. So you're not going to get the full start to finish. It's not going to be birth to passing. It's going to mainly focus on this chunk, but I think it's going to be really cool. And again, having access to the estate. I like how he said the estate and the library of songs, because the songs are important, but when you have sort of that access, who knows, maybe you can use some of John's outfits, glasses, some of the things that are important for actors to get into their character that kind of thing can be important. I know the movie was terrible and awful, but Travolta and Gotti, he used some of John's actual ties and some of his handkerchiefs and things of that nature, and that's kind of important. What's his name? Who I love, the director there, who's super nice, who actually tweets me from time to time. Really, really good guy. I'm terrible that I'm blanking on his name, but he's from Long Island. He's an Islander fan. He was saying how it was eerie that Travolta would be coming up, and he's in the makeup and everything like that, and he's wearing the ties which had John Gotti's cologne on it, which it puts this whole thing together. And actors, they need all these little tiny little things. Anything could set them into that right direction to play one hell of a role. No word yet on who's going to play John. We can probably argue about that. I'll definitely take your comments on that. Who do you think should play John Lennon? But look, this thing looks like it's a full-on go, and that's really exciting. That's really exciting. Again, in the world of music biopics, we talked about Blood on the Tracks, the Dylan album that's being turned into a movie, which I like. I think that's going to be the next generation of this musical obsession in film, but I also feel like we're going to get a lot more music biopics as they've been hot lately. And again, the heat that's behind this Freddie Mercury movie, from now until this thing pops, you're going to see a lot of these biopics get put into production because the heat behind them is extraordinary. Now, if the Freddie Mercury Queen biopic turns out to be a box office hit, you're going to see a double of these biopics get greenlit. And then you're going to start to run down all these classic artists. Lennon, the Beatles themselves. You can make 4 movies out of the Beatles alone. You can make 50. You can make 4 out of each member, and then you can go on from there. The Stones, you can just go up and down the list of music icons. So we'll see. But the latest that you can get excited about that looks like it's getting pushed in the right direction, a John Lennon biopic with Yoko Ono behind it and a great writer and director to go along with. That's pretty cool.